The stars were calm that night, scattered across the black ocean of space like tiny silver flames. Outpost Epsilon 9 floated silently above the barren moon of Illyra, a small human research station built to monitor deep space signals. To anyone passing by, it seemed quiet, almost forgotten, but inside, humanity's next great leap of knowledge was taking shape. Commander Leah Morgan walked through the narrow metal corridors, her boots echoing softly. She had served in many far-flung colonies, but Epsilon 9 was different. It was far from Earth, deeper into the galaxy than any other human base. Her crew was small, only 40 scientists and soldiers, but their purpose was big. They studied energy anomalies that hinted at intelligent life beyond known space. For weeks, they had been tracking strange pulses from a nearby nebula. They weren't random. They had rhythm, patterns too organized to be natural. Leah had begun to suspect that someone or something was sending messages. In the observation room, Dr. Aaron Patel, the station's chief scientist, sat surrounded by glowing screens. His eyes were fixed on a moving pattern of lights. "Commander," he said quietly as Leah entered, "the signal's changed again. It's as if they know we are watching." Leah leaned closer. "Could it be interference?" He shook his head. "No, it's deliberate. Almost like a test." A deep hum filled the room, the sound of the communication array warming up. They had been trying to decode the signal for days, sending short human responses in binary. But tonight something new happened. The signal grew louder and clearer, forming a repeating tone. It almost sounded like a voice trying to break through the static. Then it stopped. The screens went dark. The hum vanished. "What just happened?" Leah asked sharply. "Unknown," Dr. Patel replied, typing quickly. "All systems just went offline for exactly 5 seconds. Then restarted on their own." Before Leah could answer, the lights flickered again, this time with a low vibration running through the floor. The crew looked at each other, tense. Outpost Epsilon 9 had been built to withstand almost anything, but this was different. It felt like something massive had just passed nearby. "Get me a scan of the perimeter," Leah ordered. On the display, a new contact appeared. Large, slow-moving, and unlike any known ship. It shimmered faintly as if half invisible, but its outline was unmistakable, a vessel of alien origin. The crew fell silent. Humanity had seen traces of alien life before, ruins, signals, theories, but never an active ship this close. "Open a channel," Leah said carefully. "Let's try to talk." Dr. Patel nodded, sending a standard greeting pulse in multiple frequencies. The response came instantly, a sharp beam of light striking their communication dish. The entire outpost shook. Consoles sparked. Warning lights flashed red across every corridor. "They hit us with some kind of energy wave," shouted a technician. "Shut down power systems. Use emergency batteries," Leah commanded. The outpost dimmed, leaving only the red glow of alarms. Outside, the alien vessel remained motionless, its form now clearer. Long, curved, like the shell of a creature built for war. For a moment, Leah thought they might be testing humanity, maybe trying to scare them. But then dozens of smaller lights detached from the main ship, drones gliding toward the station. "Defense turrets active," yelled the security chief. Tiny flashes lit up the void as the station fired. Several drones exploded, but many others dodged the fire and reached the hull. The next seconds were chaos. Explosions rippled across Epsilon 9's exterior, tearing through its metal walls. Inside, Leah gripped a console to steady herself as gravity flickered. "Evacuate! All crew to escape pods." The sirens wailed as people ran. Smoke filled the corridors and the air began to thin. Dr. Patel stumbled beside her, holding a small data drive. "Commander, the signal logs, we can't lose them. Take them and go." Leah pushed him toward the escape bay. She turned back to the command deck, trying one last transmission to Earth. "Outpost Epsilon 9 under attack by unknown alien force. Coordinates transmitting now." Before she could finish, the alien ship fired again. A blinding light filled the viewport. The station split apart, its pieces drifting into the endless dark. Silence returned to the nebula. Far away, on Earth 2 weeks later, at the United Earth Defense Command in Geneva, Admiral Rhett Hawkins stood before a silent room. The images on the main display showed wreckage floating near Illyra's orbit, what was left of Epsilon 9. No life signs. No signals. Only fragments, 40 of our people, he said slowly. Gone. Beside him, Intelligence Officer Mira Chen pointed to the recovered transmission log. Commander Morgan managed to send partial data before the station was destroyed. The attackers weren't pirates or raiders. They came from a sector beyond mapped space. Any communication attempts from them? The Admiral asked. None. But our deep space scanners caught residual energy readings, same as what our scientists recorded from the nebula signals. Whoever they are, they were watching us long before the attack. The Admiral's face hardened. Then they planned it. Mira hesitated. Sir, there's more. We analyzed the pattern of their attack. It was too precise. They didn't just destroy the station. They erased every piece of its data network, as if they wanted to hide what Epsilon 9 discovered. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. The outpost hadn't just been destroyed. It had been silenced. Admiral Hawkins turned to the window, looking at the Earth below. They thought they could scare us, he said softly. They don't understand humanity yet. He looked back at the officers. Prepare an expedition fleet. We're going to find out who did this. Meanwhile, the Zathari Empire in a far corner of the galaxy, inside the crystal halls of the Zathari High Council, the alien commander who led the attack knelt before the ruling elders. His armor gleamed with faint blue light. The human outpost has been destroyed, my lords, he reported. Their kind will not reach this sector again. One of the elders, old and tall, regarded him with cold eyes. You are certain they were primitive? Yes, Elder. Their weapons were weak, their ships slow. They are not a threat. The elder's voice turned sharp. And yet you destroyed their outpost without authorization. The commander lowered his head. Their signal probes entered sacred space. I followed the code, the council murmured among themselves. To them, humanity was only a distant curiosity, a young species expanding too far. But in their arrogance, they did not realize what they had just awakened. The Zathari Empire had existed for millennia, ruling dozens of worlds. They had seen many civilizations rise and fall, and none had ever challenged their might. To them, humans were no different, just another race of explorers who would fade away. But they were wrong, because even now, in the silent depths of Earth's orbit, new fleets were being built. Factories burned through the night. Scientists worked tirelessly to study the fragments of Epsilon 9's last message. They were angry, united, and determined. Back on Earth, the Oath Admiral Hawkins stood in the war room as the holographic map of the galaxy expanded. Hundreds of red dots appeared, new stations, defense lines, and ships under construction. He placed his hand on the table and spoke quietly, almost like a promise. They destroyed one outpost. That was their mistake. Behind him, Mira Chen watched the display shift to the distant nebula where Epsilon 9 once orbited. What if they're stronger than us? She asked softly. Then we'll become stronger, he replied. Humans don't run from fear. We learn from it. He paused, remembering the 40 lost souls of Epsilon 9, scientists, soldiers, dreamers who had looked at the stars with hope. The universe will remember their names, he said, and the ones who destroyed them will remember ours. Outside the command window, Earth's first warship of a new generation, the UES Valiant, ignited its engines, rising toward the stars. It was the beginning of something far greater than revenge. It was the start of humanity's awakening. 6 months had passed since the fall of Outpost Epsilon 9. In that short time, humanity had changed. Across Earth and the colonies, factories thundered day and night. Shipyards floated in orbit like shining cities of metal. Engineers worked in silence, faces lit by the glow of blueprints and plasma torches. Every design, every engine, every weapon carried the same name engraved into its core, Epsilon, a reminder of what was lost. Admiral Rhett Hawkins stood aboard the UES Valiant, the first of Earth's new war-class ships. It was larger than any vessel humanity had ever built, 3 kilometers long, armed with rail cannons and energy shields adapted from fragments of alien technology, salvaged from the ruins of Epsilon 9. The Admiral looked through the bridge window at the stars. We're not explorers anymore, he said quietly. We're guardians now. At his side stood Mira Chen, now promoted to captain. Her expression was calm, but her eyes held the same fire that burned in every human heart since the tragedy. Our scouts traced the attacker's energy trail, she said. It leads toward the Zathari border. They have outposts along the nebula rim. Hawkins nodded slowly. Then that's where we begin. The mission, the fleet assembled near Mars. 12 warships, 20 escort vessels, and a carrier filled with drones and marines. The mission was simple: reconnaissance. Find the Zathari, gather proof of their aggression, and if necessary, strike back. But everyone aboard knew it would not stay simple for long. Dr. Aaron Patel, rescued from an escape pod months ago, now led a special team of scientists aboard the Valiant. He had spent sleepless weeks decoding the last fragments from Epsilon 9. "I found something hidden in the signal," he told the Admiral during a briefing. "Before the station was destroyed, our system captured a final pattern, a sequence of coordinates." "Coordinates to what?" Hawkins asked. "A planet," Patel replied. "Inside Zathari space. I think that's where the signal originated before they attacked us." The Admiral studied the glowing map. The planet was deep within enemy territory, surrounded by their patrol routes. To reach it would be dangerous, but to ignore it would be worse. "Set course," Hawkins ordered. "If that planet holds answers, we're going to find them." Journey through the void days turned into weeks as the fleet traveled through the dark. The stars outside shimmered like frozen fires and the crew grew silent, each person lost in thought. They were the first humans to cross beyond mapped space. Every new system they passed was a page never written before. Sometimes they found traces of other civilizations, ruined satellites, abandoned colonies, but most of space was empty. The silence of it made people uneasy. In the observation deck, Captain Chen stood beside Dr. Patel. "Do you ever think they regret it?" she asked softly. "The Zathari?" he replied. "No, they probably think we were insects." She nodded. "Maybe. But they'll learn what happens when humans rise together." Patel smiled faintly. "That's what frightens them most." The edge of Zathari space. When the fleet reached the nebula rim, the scanners lit up with energy readings. Strange structures floated among the dust clouds, metallic towers connected by beams of light. They looked like giant webs spun between asteroids. "Zathari defense grid," said a technician. "If we cross it, they'll see us." Admiral Hawkins studied the map. "We need to know what's inside before we act. Send a stealth drone." Minutes later, the drone's camera showed vast Zathari stations, sleek and curved, their surfaces glowing with blue veins of power. Hundreds of alien ships drifted in formation, their hulls reflecting the nebula's faint colors. Dr. Patel frowned. "Look at that energy core. It's pulsing exactly like the signal we received before. I think their whole network is built on that same frequency." Captain Chen leaned closer. "So the signal wasn't just a message. It's part of their power system." "That means," Patel said slowly, "if someone interferes with that frequency," Hawkins finished the thought, "their entire system could collapse." He turned to the crew. "Prepare an infiltration team. We're going to find the source." The hidden planet. After 2 tense days sneaking through enemy lines, the fleet reached the coordinates. Before them lay a quiet blue-green world surrounded by 3 small moons. "It looked peaceful, too peaceful, that's it," Patel whispered. "The origin planet." Sensors showed no activity on the surface, but beneath the clouds were signs of massive underground structures. The Admiral ordered a small task group to land, a mix of Marines, scientists, and engineers. They descended through storms and lightning, landing on a plain of white crystal. The air shimmered with energy like static electricity. Strange monoliths rose around them, covered with markings that glowed faintly when touched. Dr. Patel brushed dust from one symbol. "These writings, they're not Zathari." Captain Chen frowned. "Then who built this place?" Before anyone could answer, the ground trembled. From beneath the crystal plains, great metal pillars emerged, forming a circular gate. A soft hum filled the air. The monoliths began to glow brighter, and patterns of light ran along their surfaces like veins awakening after sleep. "Something's powering up," shouted a Marine. "Back to the shuttle," ordered Chen. But before they could move, a beam of light rose from the gate and struck the clouds. For a heartbeat, the sky turned white and a vision filled their minds, a memory not their own. They saw the Zathari long ago, discovering this planet. They had not created the power here. They had stolen it. The energy they used for their empire, their ships, their weapons, it came from this world. And it was never meant to be controlled. When the vision faded, the gate went silent again. Dr. Patel knelt beside it, breathing hard. This is their secret, the source of their strength, and the cause of their downfall. The ambush as the humans prepared to leave, alarms blared aboard the Valiant. Multiple contacts emerging from hyperspace, cried the sensor officer. Zathari ships, hundreds of them. They had been discovered. The Admiral's voice cut through the noise. All ships, defensive formation. Protect the landing team. In orbit, blue flashes filled the dark as the Zathari fleet closed in. Their ships moved like living shadows, weapons glowing. The first volley struck, shaking the Valiant, but its new shields held strong. Return fire, Hawkins commanded. The rail cannons roared, sending streaks of light across the void. Several Zathari ships shattered instantly, caught off guard by the human weapon power. But there were too many. For every ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. Down on the planet, the landing team fought to reach their shuttle through storms of falling debris. We need extraction now, Chen shouted through the comm. Hold position, came the Admiral's reply. We're clearing a path. Dr. Patel looked back at the glowing gate. We can't leave it like this, he said. If they recapture it, they'll keep their power. Chen hesitated. What are you thinking? He held up a small transmitter. If I link our signal disruptor to the gate's core, it'll create a resonance loop, shut down their entire energy network for light years. But it could destroy the planet, she warned. Patel met her eyes. Then it will also destroy their weapons supply. It's our only chance, she nodded slowly. Do it. The choice while the fleet above fought desperately. Patel and his team connected the disruptor to the gate. The hum grew louder until the air itself vibrated. Light poured from the symbols, racing along the ground like rivers of fire. Transmission ready, Patel said. Activating on your mark. Captain Chen opened the channel. Valiant, this is ground team. We're triggering the resonance. Pull back now. Hawkins hesitated only a second. Understood. All ships retreat to safe distance. The human fleet turned sharply, engines burning bright as they fled the planet's orbit. The Zathari commanders laughed at the retreat, until their scanners detected a strange pulse rising from below. Inside their ships, systems began to fail. Shields flickered, weapons froze, engines died. What is happening? Shouted a Zathari captain as his vessel drifted helplessly. Then the light came, a wave of pure energy bursting from the planet, sweeping across the nebula, short-circuiting every Zathari ship in its path. From the bridge of the Valiant, Hawkins and his crew watched in stunned silence. The alien fleet went dark, thousands of ships collapsing into quiet ruins. The gate's light dimmed, leaving only a fading glow over the planet. Status of the landing team? The Admiral asked. Static answered. Then, after a long moment, Chen's voice broke through. We're alive. Patel did it. The gate is gone. A cheer erupted across the bridge. Hawkins exhaled slowly. Transmit to Earth. The first strike is over. He looked out at the wreckage of the Zathari armada and whispered, They destroyed one human outpost and doomed their entire empire. The wave of energy that swept from the hidden planet spread like a silent storm. Across the stars, lights dimmed, engines failed, entire fleets froze in place. The mighty Zathari empire, once proud and feared, was suddenly blind, powerless, and afraid. For the first time in 1,000 years, their ships drifted without command. Their worlds, long connected through the same energy grid, went dark one by one. Communication fell, and panic rose like wildfire. Far above a quiet blue world, the UES Valiant floated in calm orbit. The human fleet had survived the resonance wave, protected by distance and shield upgrades. The bridge was silent, filled with awe. Through the windows, the crew could see debris from hundreds of dead alien ships, glowing faintly like ghosts in the void. Admiral Rhett Hawkins stood at the center of the bridge. His uniform was marked with dust and scars from battle, but his eyes were steady. Status report, he said softly. Captain Mira Chen turned from the console. All systems stable. Energy levels normal. The Zathari fleet is gone, sir. Every ship within range lost power. Hawkins nodded slowly. And the planet? Dr. Aaron Patel's voice came through the comms from the surface. The gate is destroyed. The entire energy source collapsed. Whatever the Zathari were drawing power from, it's gone forever. There was relief in his voice, but also sorrow. The humans had won, but the cost was high. Many lives were lost, and the stars now carried the quiet remains of a great war. The aftermath days passed as the fleet repaired its systems. They rescued survivors from the surface, gathered data, and watched the nebula fade from bright to gray. The resonance wave had changed more than the battlefield. It had shifted the balance of power in the entire galaxy. One evening, Hawkins stood alone in the observation deck looking at the stars. The reflection of the nebula's dying light shimmered in the glass. Behind him, Captain Chen entered quietly. "Still thinking about them?" she asked. He nodded. The Zathari ruled half this galaxy. Now they're scattered, broken. I keep wondering if we went too far. Chen stood beside him. "They destroyed Epsilon 9, sir. They started this." "I know," Hawkins said softly. "But look out there, Mira. Entire worlds depending on their network will go dark now. Billions might suffer." She was silent for a moment. "Maybe. But this time, they'll learn what it means to live without domination. Maybe peace will have a chance." He smiled faintly. "Peace," he repeated. "Let's hope humanity remembers that word too." The ruins of GalacticPrime. A month later, a new mission was sent to the Zathari homeworld, GalacticPrime. Once a shining capital, its surface was now covered in silent cities and flickering towers. The once great energy spires stood lifeless, their blue veins turned to ash. The Valiant led a small team to explore. Captain Chen landed with Dr. Patel and a squad of engineers. The air was thin, filled with a faint metallic smell. Streets once filled with light were now cold and dark. Patel knelt near a fallen tower, scanning it. Their entire civilization ran on that same energy pattern. When the wave hit, it didn't just stop their power, it erased the source completely. Chen looked around. "Do you think any of them survived?" As if in answer, a weak sound came from the shadows, a low, trembling hum. From behind a broken wall, a figure appeared. It was tall, with silver-gray skin and eyes that glowed faintly blue. Everyone raised their weapons, but the alien lifted its hands slowly. Its voice was faint but clear. "No harm, please." Chen lowered her gun slightly. "You're Zathari?" "Yes," the alien said. "Name? Zarin. I was scientist, before the fall." Patel stepped forward carefully. "Zarin, we're not here to fight. We want to understand." Zarin looked around at the ruins. "Understand? Your wave destroyed everything. The great network, gone. Our ships, gone. Our worlds, dying." There was sorrow in his voice, but no anger, only exhaustion. He sank to his knees, touching the dead ground. "We thought we controlled the power, but it was not ours. It was a gift stolen long ago." Patel exchanged a glance with Chen. "The ancient builders, the ones who created that gate." Zarin nodded slowly. "Yes, we found their world centuries ago, used their energy, built our empire upon it, but it was not meant to last." Chen's tone softened. "Why attack us then? Why destroy Epsilon 9? Zarin closed his eyes. "Fear. We saw your signal, the same pattern as the old ones. We thought you had found what we had stolen. Our council panicked. They believed humans would bring the old power back and destroy us." Chen sighed quietly. "So they struck first." Zarin looked up at her, tired and broken. "Now we are the ones destroyed." The choice of mercy, the Valiant's council gathered later in orbit. Hawkins listened as Chen and Patel told the story of Zarin and his people. A few thousand Zathari had survived underground. Their food was running out, their air filters failing. They had no way to rebuild. The room fell silent. The decision was clear, but not easy. Commander Vera Nolan, the fleet's tactical officer, broke the silence. "After what they did, we should leave them. They showed us no mercy at Epsilon 9. Dr. Patel looked at her calmly. "If we leave them, we become what they were. We've already won the war. Now we decide what kind of future humanity deserves. Admiral Hawkins remained quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Prepare a supply drop. Medicine, food, and clean air units. No weapons." Vera frowned. "You're helping them?" "Yes," Hawkins said firmly. "Because that's what humans do. We rebuild, even for those who wronged us." Captain Chen smiled faintly. "That's why they'll never understand us, sir." New dawn weeks turned into months. The resonance wave continued to ripple across the galaxy, shutting down old Zathari systems far beyond their homeworld. Many smaller species once under Zathari rule began to rise. They called for alliances, for protection, and for peace. Humanity responded. New stations were built, not as weapons, but as beacons, places of trade and learning. The United Earth. Fleet sent envoys to new civilizations, helping them restore power and rebuild after centuries of control. The humans became something unexpected, a symbol of hope. One day, as the Valiant orbited the quiet world of Zathar Prime, Admiral Hawkins stood on the bridge beside Captain Chen. The stars ahead were bright again, no longer hidden behind the shadow of Empire. "Do you think they'll forgive us?" he asked quietly. Chen looked at the world below, where humans and surviving Zathari worked together to rebuild cities. "Maybe not today," she said. "But one day, they'll remember that when they were broken, it was humans who reached out a hand." Hawkins smiled. "Then Epsilon 9 didn't die for nothing." Dr. Patel's discovery, in the science bay, Dr. Patel continued studying fragments of the ancient gate. The energy pattern was gone, but its structure still held mysteries. Late, one night he noticed something strange. A faint pulse still active within one shard. He magnified the signal and froze. The pulse wasn't random, it was a message, repeating endlessly in a simple rhythm. He decoded it slowly, line by line, until the meaning became clear. "We are watching. The gate is not the end. The builders will return." Patel sat back, stunned. The ancient power wasn't destroyed, it had only gone dormant. The resonance wave that broke the Zathari Empire might have awakened something far older. He immediately sent a report to the Admiral. When Hawkins read it, his face turned serious. "If that's true, we may have just called attention to ourselves." Chen frowned. "You mean, whoever built the gates might come back?" Patel nodded. "And they'll know humanity is now part of the equation. A new beginning, as the Valiant prepared to leave Zathar Prime. The human fleet assembled once more. Thousands of people stood ready, not for war this time, but for exploration. Humanity had entered a new age. They had proven their strength, their mercy, and their will to survive. Before departure, Hawkins gave one final order. "Rename the fleet. From today, it's no longer the Earth Defense Force. It's the United Exploration Fleet. We're not just protecting our world, we're shaping the future." As the ships ignited their engines, the night sky filled with trails of light. The stars seemed to open before them, endless and bright. Dr. Patel stood beside Captain Chen, watching the stars drift by. "Do you think they're out there, the builders?" Chen smiled softly. "I don't know. But if they are, they'll learn what the Zathari learned." "And what's that?" he asked. She looked at him, eyes steady and proud. "That you can destroy one human outpost, but you can never destroy humanity." The fleet moved forward, cutting through the dark like arrows of light. Behind them, the broken empire faded into silence. Ahead, the unknown waited, vast, mysterious, and full of promise. The stars were calm again, or so everyone believed. Months had passed since humanity's victory over the Zathari Empire. Across the galaxy, human ships now sailed freely, helping lost colonies and guiding new civilizations into peace. The once scattered human race had become a united power, respected and admired. But deep within the quiet corners of space, something ancient had awakened. The energy that destroyed the Zathari system did not disappear. It echoed, bouncing across forgotten worlds, stirring old machines that had been silent for ages. Far above Earth, inside the UES Valiant, Admiral Rhett Hawkins studied a series of strange signals displayed on the holographic map. The pulses were faint but repeating, rhythmic, intelligent, and familiar. They matched the old gate frequency, said Dr. Aaron Patel, who stood beside him. But this time the pattern is different. It's not random, it's... Calling. Captain Mira Chen frowned. Calling to who? Patel looked uneasy. Not to us. To something else. The distress signal, the signals came from the far edge of known space, a cluster of dead worlds lost beyond any chart. They were weak like a whisper through storm clouds, but growing stronger each day. At first, the scientists thought it was leftover energy from the destroyed Zathari network. But then the messages changed. They began forming words, universal mathematical codes no human system had ever created. Someone or something is rebuilding the network, Patel said during a meeting with the Fleet Council. If the builders of the gates are returning, we need to know their purpose. Admiral Hawkins nodded. We can't afford surprises. Prepare a deep space expedition. The Valiant will lead. Journey to the outer rim. The Valiant and 3 escort ships left orbit, engines burning blue as they crossed the dark. For weeks they traveled through regions untouched by light, where even navigation stars seemed distant and cold. Inside the ship, tension grew. No one said it aloud, but everyone felt the same unease, an ancient presence waiting ahead. Captain Chen walked the quiet corridors at night, listening to the hum of the engines. She stopped near the observation deck, where the stars glowed faintly. Dr. Patel was already there looking out. You still studying the signal? She asked. He nodded. Yes, it's changing shape. It almost feels alive. She looked at him curiously. Alive? Patel hesitated. Like it's responding to us. Every time we scan it, it shifts slightly as if it knows we're listening. Chen's eyes narrowed. Then it's not a random code. It's watching us, Patel sighed. Maybe the builders never truly left. Maybe they've been waiting for someone to find them. The dead system, after 3 weeks of travel, the fleet reached the source, a lonely star surrounded by broken planets. One of the planets, large and cracked, still emitted faint energy signals. Its surface glowed with the same blue light once seen on the Zathari world. This is it, Hawkins said. Bring us into orbit. The planet's name appeared on the display, Vareth 12. Long ago, according to Zathari records, it was one of their earliest colonies, abandoned centuries before the Empire's rise. The Valiant sent probes to scan the surface. The data shocked everyone. Massive circular structures covered the land, buried under layers of dust and rock. They were shaped like the gate from the previous battle, but far larger. There were hundreds of them. Captain Chen's voice was quiet. It looks like a whole network of gates. Dr. Patel nodded slowly. If these activate, they could link entire galaxies together. Or destroy them, Hawkins added grimly. The awakening. The landing team descended through thin clouds and touched down near one of the buried gates. The ground vibrated with a faint hum, and electric light pulsed under their boots. The air smelled sharp like metal and ozone. Patel walked carefully toward a glowing monolith half buried in the sand. He placed his hand on it, and lines of blue light spread outward like veins. The hum grew louder. Doctor? Chen asked, cautious. It's reacting to human touch, Patel said, eyes wide. It's reading my biosigns. Wait, something's happening. A bright beam shot into the sky, piercing the clouds. The air shimmered, and the gate slowly began to rise, dust falling in waves. The circular structure rotated, releasing bursts of energy that rippled across the surface. In the command ship above, alarms rang. Admiral, shouted the officer. Massive power surge from the planet. All readings off the charts. Hawkins gripped the rail. Shut it down. Pull the team out. But before the order could reach the surface, a voice echoed through every speaker. Deep, ancient, calm. Children of flesh. You have awakened what was meant to sleep. The crew froze. The voice wasn't human. It spoke in perfect translation, resonating through the air and their minds alike. Your hands touch power that once shaped the stars. You are not ready. Dr. Patel looked around in awe. It's the builders. Captain Chen raised her communicator. This is Captain Mira Chen of the United Exploration Fleet. We come in peace. There was silence for a moment, then the voice returned. Peace? You carry the mark of destruction. You broke the chain and silenced our creation. Patel stepped forward. We didn't mean to destroy. We only defended ourselves. The Zathari used your energy to enslave others. The air shimmered again. The light from the gate brightened until it was blinding. Then, slowly, A figure appeared, a being of pure light, tall and featureless, standing in the dust. The Zathari were warned, the being said. They took what was forbidden, and now you follow their path. Hawkins's voice came through the comm from orbit. Ground team, what's happening? Chen replied, We're not alone, sir. The builders are real. The builder's judgment, the being moved closer, its shape glowing with gentle white fire. Though it had no face, its voice carried emotion, sadness mixed with caution. You humans are bold. You learn, you build, you reach beyond your stars. But with every step you awaken dangers older than your kind. Patel spoke softly. Then teach us. Don't punish us. We want to understand. The being looked at him for a long time. Knowledge has a cost. Once the Zathari asked for power. They used it for war. If you seek wisdom, you must prove your purpose. Chen took a breath. What must we do? There is a place where the first gate stands, said the being. At the heart of this galaxy. It holds the truth of our creation. Go there if you dare. But remember, once opened, it cannot be closed. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the figure dissolved into light. The gate stopped humming and silence returned to the valley. The decision back aboard the Valiant, the fleet gathered in the war room. The atmosphere was tense. The builders were not gods, but they were something close. Ancient beings who shaped galaxies and vanished before time was recorded. Admiral Hawkins looked at the glowing map, where a single new coordinate now blinked. The location of the first gate. Should we follow it? Asked Captain Chen quietly. It could be a trap. Dr. Patel shook his head. Or it could be our greatest discovery. The builders may hold answers to everything. The energy, the Zathari, even humanity's place in the universe. Commander Vera Nolan crossed her arms. Or we could wake something worse than the Zathari. We just rebuilt the galaxy. Do we really want to risk another war? The Admiral stayed silent for a long time, then finally spoke. If the builders are returning, humanity must be ready. Ignoring them won't make them go away. We'll go, but carefully. The first gate, the fleet set course for the galactic center. The journey would take months, through regions filled with gravity storms and broken stars. Along the way, they picked up strange readings, signals of other species also searching for the same coordinates. It seemed the builder's message had reached more than just humans. One night, as the Valiant passed near a dying star, Captain Chen stood beside Admiral Hawkins on the bridge. Do you think they're testing us? She asked. Maybe, Hawkins said. Or maybe they just want to see what kind of beings we really are. He looked out at the stars, glowing faintly red through the storm. Whatever waits for us at that gate, we'll face it together. Humanity's greatest strength has never been power, it's courage. Chen smiled slightly. And unity. The shadow among the stars, as they neared the coordinates, the crew began to notice something strange. Every time they received a transmission from another fleet, there was interference, static but patterned. Dr. Patel decoded part of it and froze. It's the Zathari, he whispered. Some of them survived and they're following us. The room went silent. Captain Chen clenched her fists. After all they've lost, why would they still chase us? Because they want the builders' power back, Patel said grimly. They think it's their only chance to rise again. Admiral Hawkins turned to the crew. Then we'll reach the first gate before they do. He stared at the blinking light on the map, a beacon of both hope and danger. They destroyed one human outpost, he said quietly. But now, because of that, all of creation may change. The engines roared and the Valiant surged forward into the unknown, the stars stretching like silver fire around them. Behind them followed shadows, the broken remnants of the Zathari, desperate and vengeful. Ahead waited the truth, the Builder's legacy, and perhaps the destiny of all humanity. The stars seemed to bend as the UES Valiant approached the heart of the galaxy. Energy currents twisted through space like rivers of light, guiding the fleet toward the coordinates of the first gate. Every sensor aboard the ship hummed with signals unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The Builder's presence was near, immense, ancient, and impossible to ignore. Admiral Rhett Hawkins stood on the bridge, gazing at the glowing point on the map. He felt the weight of history pressing down. Every decision from Epsilon 9 to Zathar Prime had led them here. Humanity's courage, ingenuity, and unity had brought them to this moment. Captain Mira Chen stood beside him, her hand resting lightly on the railing. Sir, all readings indicate the gate is active. It's huge, Hawkins nodded. It's the source. The Builder's first creation. Everything we've encountered, the Zathari, the stolen energy, the gates, they all came from this place. Dr. Aaron Patel appeared at the console, face pale but eyes alight. The signals are forming a pattern like a language. I can feel it. It's not just communication, it's a test. The Builders are waiting to see if we are ready. Hawkins exhaled slowly. Then we face their test and we do it together. The arrival as the fleet entered orbit around the first gate. The view left everyone speechless. A massive circular structure floated above the surface of a barren blue-gray world. Its diameter stretched for hundreds of kilometers, with glowing lines of energy flowing across its surface. Beams of light connected the gate to smaller satellites orbiting like planets of power. The air shimmered with a strange energy. The Valiant's shields registered intense fluctuations, yet the humans felt no danger, at least none yet. Prepare a landing team, Hawkins ordered. We go in, but stay cautious. We don't know what awaits. The shuttle teams descended slowly. Dust swirled in the low gravity as they touched down near the gate's entrance. It looked like an archway carved from light itself. Symbols glowed along the rim, shifting and pulsing as if alive. Dr. Patel stepped forward first. This is the source of all energy manipulation in this galaxy. Every gate, every Zathari weapon, every energy system, it all comes from here. Captain Chen examined the symbols. And it's waiting for us. But why? Before Patel could answer, the air vibrated. A voice resonated throughout the plane, calm, deep, and powerful. Children of flesh, you have come to the first gate. You are not here by chance. Your choices have led you to this moment. Hawkins stepped forward. We seek understanding. We come in peace. We want to know your truth. The energy of the gate shifted. A figure of light emerged, taller than any human or Zathari, radiating calm authority. It had no face, yet its presence filled the minds of all who stood there. Peace is a word easily spoken, yet rarely lived. To learn truth, you must demonstrate unity, courage, and wisdom. Only then will the Builders reveal themselves fully. The trial begins. The gate pulsed, and the symbols on its surface shifted into a pathway. A series of floating platforms of light that stretched above the ground. Dr. Patel examined them. This is a test. Each platform requires synchronization. It reacts to our intentions, to our collective actions. Hawkins looked at his team. Then we moved together. One step at a time. Trust each other. The humans began walking across the platforms. As they did, obstacles appeared, not physical threats, but visions, challenges meant to test their minds and hearts. First, they saw the destruction of Epsilon 9. Flames, alarms, and chaos filled their vision. They could feel the fear of the lost scientists and soldiers. Do not succumb to anger, the voice said. Justice is not revenge. Hawkins held his crew steady. We honor their sacrifice through wisdom, not rage. Keep moving. The platform shifted, leading to another vision. The Zathari Empire, vast and strong, yet blind to compassion. The humans saw the consequences of unchecked ambition. The thousands of worlds enslaved, the fear, the suffering. Compassion is strength. Power without mercy is destruction. Captain Chen looked at her crew. We will not repeat their mistakes. Humanity builds, even for those who oppose us. Unity of humanity. The final vision appeared. A mirror of the human fleet in orbit above the first gate. Thousands of individuals standing together, ready to face the unknown. To claim understanding, you must demonstrate unity. All hearts, all minds together as one. Hawkins took a deep breath. We are one. All of humanity. Our courage, our curiosity, our compassion, we carry it forward together. The platforms glowed brighter as each team member synchronized their thoughts. The energy of the gate responded to their will, rising higher and higher until it enveloped them in a sphere of light. Then, for a moment, the world went silent. The Builder's revelation when the light faded, the humans found themselves floating in a vast hall of pure energy. Walls, floors, and ceilings were made of glowing streams of information. The Builder's figure appeared once more, radiant and calm. You have proven yourselves, the being said. You have faced destruction, witnessed the misuse of power, and yet chose courage, unity, and mercy. You are worthy of knowledge. Dr. Patel stepped forward. We seek answers. About the gates, the Zathari, and the balance of life across the galaxy. Long ago, the builders created the network to help civilizations grow, to share knowledge and energy freely. The Zathari took it and used it for conquest. That is why they fell. Hawkins asked, "And humanity? What is our path?" "You are a young species full of potential. You have the capacity to unite, to learn, and to protect. But your choices will shape not only your future, but that of countless worlds. The test is complete. You may leave with knowledge and with guidance." The figure extended a hand of light, and holographic images appeared. Maps of the galaxy, locations of dormant gates, instructions for safe activation and warnings of misuse. Humanity now had the blueprint of the Builder's network. Return to the stars. When the humans returned to the surface, the gate's energy settled into a calm glow. The fleet above cheered silently through comms. Admiral Hawkins addressed his crew. "We have learned more than any human has in 1,000 years. The Builders exist, and they have entrusted us with their knowledge, not to conquer, but to guide, protect, and unite." Captain Chen smiled. "We've survived trials stronger than any war, and we've proven that humanity is ready for the next step." Dr. Patel added, "We also know that others are watching, the Builders, and perhaps civilizations yet unknown. Our actions matter more than ever. A new era back on the Valiant." The fleet set a course for Earth. As they traveled, ships from nearby systems began to arrive. Alliances seeking guidance, civilizations inspired by human courage. Humanity's reputation as explorers and protectors had spread faster than any fleet could travel. On the bridge, Hawkins and Chen looked out at the stars. The first gate's light was now faint on the horizon, a reminder of the responsibility they carried. "We came because they destroyed one human outpost," Hawkins said quietly. "And now, because of that, the galaxy has a chance to change." Chen nodded. "They underestimated us. They never realized that humans don't just survive. We rise." The Valiant surged forward, cutting through the galaxy like a ribbon of light. Behind them, the shadow of the fallen Zathari Empire faded into memory. Ahead, the Builder's network offered hope, knowledge, and the promise of exploration beyond imagination. Humanity had survived, learned, and proven itself. They had faced loss, outsmarted enemies, and passed the Builder's trial. And now at last they were ready, not just to survive in the stars, but to shape the destiny of the galaxy itself. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of mystery, challenge, and wonder. And humanity moved forward together, fearless and united, ready for anything that awaited.